Hello, this is Anjana and welcome to the second session on Ruby on Rails. In the previous session, we saw what a Rails framework is. In this session, we will create a Rails application from scratch and see Hello World print out on the browser. This session assumes you would have installed the latest versions for Ruby and the MySQL community server and a client. Let us check the Ruby installation by executing ruby space -v standing for version. This shows our Ruby installation is successful. Let us now move on to installing the Rails gem by running the command gem install Rails. The Rails gem installation might take a while. You can always pause the tutorial while running the command. The Rails installation is now complete. You can check your Rails installation by executing Rails space -v. Now Rails comes with a set of generators that makes your development easy by creating all necessary elements to help you start working on a particular task. One of these is the generator for creating a new application. This will provide you a solid foundation for your Rails application. First, create a directory My Projects in your home folder, then go to that directory. Execute the following command to generate a new Rails application. Let's create a Rails application called Kitchen Store. It's an online kitchen store. Rails new kitchen store. This will create a new Rails application called Kitchen Store within a folder with the same name. Now let us go into the directory Kitchen Store and check out the files that were created. I will be using Aptana Studio to view the files. These are the directories created by running the previous command. Now let us look into some of the main folders that were just created. The app folder contains the controllers, models, views, and assets for your application. The config folder contains the application's configuration files, and here you can configure your application's runtime rules, routes, database, and more. The DB folder contains your current database schema as well as the database migrations. The gem file and gem file lock files allow you to specify what gem dependencies are needed for your Rails application. The lib folder contains extended modules for your application. The log folder will contain your application log files. The public folder, the only folder seen to the world as is, contains the static files and compiled assets. The rake file locates and loads tasks that can be run from the command line. The task definitions are defined throughout the components of Rails. Rather than changing the rake file, you should add your own tasks by adding files to the lib tasks directory of your application. The test folder contains the unit tests, fixtures, and other test apparatus. At this point, you actually have a functional Rails application. And to see it, start up your web server by executing Rails space server in your command prompt. This will start up a web brick, a web server built into Ruby by default. Now open your web browser and type localhost :3000. you will see the Rails default information page. It is this simple to get a Rails application up and running quick. Now let us start customizing our application. How about we print Hello World when we try to access the URL localhost 3000. For this, at minimum, you need a controller and a view. The controller is responsible for processing a web request and rendering a view. Routing decides which controller receives which requests. A view's purpose is to display this information in a human-readable format. To create a controller, let's make use of one of the generators that Rails provides us with. Open your command prompt. I have opened another terminal window and cd'd into the kitchen store directory. Execute the command rails generate controller welcome index. Here we are specifying the name of the controller, welcome controller, that needs to be created, along with the name of the action, index, in one command. Rails will create several files and folders for you. The controller is located at app controllers, welcome controller.rb, and the view is located at app views. Now let's open up the index.html.erb file. You can use any editor of your choice. Go to the app directory and views, welcome, and here you have the index.html.erb. Let's replace the contents with h1 hello world and save it. Next, we want Rails to identify these files at the time a request is initiated. Open the routes.rb located in the config folder. This is your application's routing file, which holds entries in a special DSL that tells Rails how to map incoming requests to controllers and actions. Let's add a line route to : welcome index. This line tells Rails to map requests at the root of the application to the welcome controller's index action. And the line get welcome index tells Rails to map requests to localhost 3000 / welcome index to the welcome controller's index action. Now let's restart our web server and navigate to localhost 3000. Restart it, Rails server. And let's refresh the page. And here you will see Hello World printed out. This was the line that you had added to app views welcome index.html.erb file, indicating that the mapping is correct and the request is successful. This brings our second session to an end. In the next session, we will see how to create a Rails action and work with resources. Thanks for watching.